The outcast ship, the ECS Tenacity, drifted at the edge of the Kepler sector, far from the gleaming core worlds where the real action happened. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge watching distant stars through reinforced windows that had seen better decades. The ship around her groaned and hummed with the sounds of aging machinery, a constant reminder that the galaxy had moved on without them. At 45 years old, Elena had steel-gray hair pulled back in a practical ponytail and eyes that had seen too many disappointments. Her uniform was immaculate despite serving on what most people called a rust bucket. The Tenacity was old by galactic standards, built during the early days of human space expansion when resources were limited and every component had to last. "Another exciting day in paradise," muttered Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison from the tactical station. He was Elena's second in command, a man whose career had stalled after questioning orders that would have cost civilian lives. His dark beard was streaked with premature gray, and his fingers drummed restlessly on his console. "At least we're not dodging paperwork in some office on Earth," replied Dr. Sarah Chen from her position at the science station. She was the ship's chief science officer. A brilliant woman who had been exiled after her research into quantum mechanics had been deemed too dangerous by the academic council. Her black hair was always escaping from whatever style she attempted, giving her a perpetually disheveled appearance. The bridge crew of the Tenacity was small but experienced. Each person there had a story of how they had ended up on humanity's most forgotten warship. Some had made mistakes, others had made enemies, and a few had simply refused to compromise their principles when it mattered most. "Captain," called out Ensign Marcus Webb from the communications station. He was young, barely 22, with bright blue eyes and an enthusiasm that had not yet been crushed by military bureaucracy. "I'm receiving multiple distress signals from the outer colonies." Elena turned toward him, her attention sharpening. "Multiple signals from which colonies?" Marcus's fingers flew across his console, his face growing pale as he processed the information. "New Rotterdam, Havens Gate, Prosperity Station, and 3 mining outposts in the asteroid belt. They're all reporting the same thing. Massive fleet movements and attacks." "Attacks?" Jake stood up from his station, moving closer to the main display. "By who? Pirates don't have the coordination for something like this." Dr. Chen pulled up stellar maps on her screen, cross-referencing the colony locations. "These colonies are spread across 3 different star systems. Whatever's happening, it's organized and large-scale." Elena felt a familiar weight settle in her stomach. After 23 years in space, she had developed an instinct for when situations were about to go from bad to worse. "Marcus, try to establish direct communication with any of the colonies. I want to know exactly what they're facing." The young ensign worked frantically, cycling through communication frequencies. After several tense minutes, static-filled voices began coming through the speakers. The words that emerged made everyone on the bridge freeze. "This is New Rotterdam. Control to any ship receiving this message. We are under attack by unknown vessels. Repeat, we are under attack. The ships are massive, unlike anything in our databases. They're demanding immediate surrender and threatening to glass the entire colony if we resist. Our defensive platforms are being systematically destroyed. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need immediate assistance." Similar messages came through from the other colonies, each more desperate than the last. Elena gripped the arms of her command chair as she listened to the fear in the colonists' voices. These were families, farmers, miners, and researchers who had come to the frontier to build new lives. "Captain," Dr. Chen said quietly, "I'm analyzing the transmission signatures from these distress calls. The interference patterns suggest the attacking ships are using technology that doesn't match any known human or allied alien systems." Jake pulled up tactical displays, his expression grim. "If someone's hitting multiple colonies simultaneously, they're looking at fleet strength. Forces. Minimum of 20 ships, possibly more." Elena stood and began pacing the bridge, her mind racing through possibilities. The nearest major human fleet was weeks away at best. The colonists would be dead or captured long before help could arrive. Through official channels. "What are our orders from Sector Command?" she asked Marcus. The ensign checked his console, then looked up with obvious frustration. Maintain current position and observe. Do not engage unless directly threatened. All military assets are to await further instructions. Maintain position, Elena repeated, her voice flat. While colonists are being slaughtered. The bridge fell, silent except for the continued distress calls crackling through the speakers. Elena had served long enough to understand military protocol. The tenacity was considered expendable, but more importantly, it was also considered useless. Command didn't want to risk losing real assets on what might be a trap or a false alarm. Captain, Jake said carefully, we could probably reach New Rotterdam in 18 hours if we push the engines. And do what when we get there? Elena asked, though she already knew what Jake was thinking. We're one ship against an unknown fleet. Dr. Chen cleared her throat. Actually, Captain, there might be more to this ship than Command realizes. Elena turned to look at her science officer. What do you mean? Sarah glanced around the bridge nervously before speaking. For the past 2 years, I've been running unofficial modifications to our systems. Small improvements that wouldn't show up on standard inspections. Jake raised an eyebrow. What kind of modifications? Nothing illegal, Sarah said quickly. Just optimization programs for our targeting systems, enhanced power distribution algorithms, and some upgrades to our sensor array. I also may have been experimenting with quantum resonance patterns in our shield generators. Elena stared at her. Sarah, are you telling me you've been conducting unauthorized research on my ship? Technically, yes, but the results have been promising. Our systems are running at roughly 40% higher efficiency than standard specifications, and the shield modifications. She paused, looking directly at Elena. Let's just say they might surprise an enemy who underestimates us. Before Elena could respond, Marcus called out urgently. Captain, I'm picking up new contacts on long-range sensors. Unknown ships approaching the Kepler sector boundary. How many? Elena asked, moving to stand behind his station. I count 7. No, 8 large vessels. They're not broadcasting. Any identification codes, and their energy signatures don't match anything in our database. Dr. Chen quickly cross-referenced the sensor data with her analysis of the colony attacks. Captain, these are the same ships that attacked the colonies. They're moving in a search pattern, probably looking for any human vessels in the area. Elena felt the moment crystallize around her. In 30 seconds, she would have to make a decision that would define not just her career, but potentially the lives of thousands of colonists. Command wanted her to observe and wait. Protocol demanded she maintain position. But Elena Vasquez had not spent 23 years in space to watch innocent people die, while she followed orders that prioritized paperwork over lives. All hands, battle stations, she announced, her voice carrying throughout the ship. Marcus, send a priority message to Sector Command. Inform them that the ECS Tenacity is responding to multiple colony distress calls and engaging unknown hostile forces. Jake grinned as he activated the ship's tactical systems. About time, Captain. Sarah, I need everything those modifications can give us, Elena continued. We're about to find out if this old ship has any surprises left. Dr. Chen's fingers flew across her console, bringing online systems that didn't officially exist. Quantum shields are charging. Enhanced targeting systems are active, and I'm redirecting power flow through the new distribution network. Helm, set course for New Rotterdam. Maximum speed, Elena ordered. We're going to show these attackers what happens when they threaten human colonies. The Tenacity's engines roared to life with power that should have been impossible for a ship of its age and class. Hidden modifications that Dr. Chen had carefully implemented over 2 years began to reveal themselves. The ship that had been dismissed as obsolete started to transform into something far more dangerous. As they accelerated toward their first real battle in years, Elena felt something she had not experienced in a long time: pride in her ship and crew. The galaxy might have written them off as failures and outcasts, but they were about to prove that sometimes the most dangerous enemies are the ones you don't see coming. Contact in 6 hours, Jake reported, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were attempting. Good, Elena replied, settling into her command chair. That gives us time to prepare a few more surprises. The ECS Tenacity raced through space toward what would either be their finest hour or their final battle. Behind them, the distress calls from the colonies continued, but now there was hope in the darkness. Help was finally coming, and it was, coming from the most unlikely source imaginable. In the depths of space, the forgotten ship carried its misfit crew toward a confrontation that would change everything. The attackers had made one critical mistake. They had underestimated the determination of humans who had nothing left to lose and everything to prove. When underdogs rise, the ECS Tenacity dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the New Rotterdam system with all the subtlety of a meteor. Captain Elena Vasquez had abandoned any pretense of stealth. Surprise was impossible when facing a superior force, but audacity might just save lives. "Contact!" Marcus Webb called out from communications, his young voice tight with tension. 8 large vessels in orbit around New Rotterdam. Captain, these ships are massive. Each one is at least 3 times our size. Elena studied the tactical display, her experienced eyes taking in the formation of alien vessels. They were arranged in a perfect sphere around the colony world, their sleek hulls reflecting the light of the system's star. These were not the crude ships of pirates or raiders. This was military precision. "Any response to our arrival?" she asked. "They're scanning us," Dr. Sarah Chen reported from her enhanced sensor station. "Deep scans trying to analyze our capabilities. But Captain, something interesting. They're not treating us as a threat. Based on their power allocation, they think we're just another obsolete human vessel." Jake Morrison smiled grimly from Tactical. "Perfect. Let them keep thinking that." Elena activated ship-wide communications. "All hands, this is the captain. We are about to engage a superior enemy force to protect innocent civilians. Our ship may be old, our crew may be outcasts, but today we show the galaxy what humans can do when we refuse to give up. All stations report ready." Responses came back from throughout the ship. Chief Engineer Tom Rodriguez confirmed that all power systems were running at optimal levels. Security Chief Lisa Park reported that damage control teams were standing by. Medical Officer Dr. James Foster acknowledged that sickbay was prepared for casualties. "Captain," Marcus said urgently, "I'm receiving a transmission from the lead alien vessel." "Put it through." The main screen flickered and displayed a face that was almost human, but not quite. The being had pale blue skin stretched tight over sharp cheekbones, with eyes that were completely black and seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. When it spoke, its voice was melodious, but somehow wrong, like a song played in a minor key. "Human vessel, you will withdraw immediately from this system. The colonies here now belong to the hegemony. Any attempt at interference will result in your destruction." Elena stood and faced the screen directly. "This is Captain Elena Vasquez of the Earth colonial ship Tenacity. The colonies you're attacking are under human protection. I'm ordering you to cease your assault and withdraw." The alien creature made a sound that might have been laughter. "Captain Vasquez, our scans indicate your vessel is approximately 70 years old and operating with obsolete technology. You have 1 ship against 8 of ours. Withdraw now and you may live." "Counter-proposal," Elena replied calmly. "You withdraw now, and I won't have to embarrass you in front of your fleet." The transmission cut off abruptly. Within seconds, all 8 alien ships began turning toward the Tenacity, their weapons charging with visible energy. "They're targeting us," Jake reported. "All ships, multiple weapon signatures. These aren't energy weapons we've seen before." Elena dropped into her command chair. "Sarah, bring all your modifications online. Jake, prepare for evasive maneuvers. Marcus, send our tactical data to any human vessels in range. If we don't make it, maybe someone else can use what we learn. Doctor." Chen's fingers danced across her console, activating systems that had been carefully hidden for years. Quantum shields at full power, enhanced targeting systems online, and initiating adaptive armor protocols. "Adaptive armor?" Elena asked. "Another little project," Sarah admitted. "The hull plating can shift its molecular structure to better absorb different types of energy. It's experimental, but..." Her explanation was cut off as the alien ships opened fire. 8 massive energy beams converged on the Tenacity's position, each one carrying enough power to vaporize a standard human vessel. The beams struck the ship and something impossible happened. They bent around the hull like water flowing around a stone. The quantum shield Sarah had developed didn't just absorb the energy, they redirected it harmlessly into space. Shields holding at 98%, Jake reported, his voice filled with amazement. Damage is negligible. Elena couldn't help but smile. I think we got their attention. Sarah, what else have you been hiding from me? Well, there's the matter of our weapon systems, Dr. Chen replied, pulling up new tactical displays. I may have made some modifications to our main guns. Show me. The Tenacity's forward weapons array came alive with power that should have been impossible. Instead of the standard plasma cannons expected from a ship of its age, streams of coherent energy erupted from hidden projectors along the hull. These weren't just enhanced weapons, they were something entirely new. Quantum disruption cannons, Sarah explained as the Tenacity returned fire. They don't just damage the target, they destabilize the molecular bonds holding the enemy ship together. The first alien vessel to be hit by the modified weapons simply came apart. There was no explosion, no fire in space. The massive ship just separated into its component atoms and drifted away as metallic dust. One down, Jake announced, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what had just happened. The remaining 7 alien ships reacted with obvious confusion. Their perfect formation broke apart as they tried to understand how an obsolete human vessel had just erased one of their own. They're repositioning, Marcus reported, trying to surround us. Elena studied the tactical display, her mind racing through possibilities. 7 ships against 1 was still impossible odds, even with Sarah's modifications. But impossible had never stopped humans before. Sarah, can we extend our quantum field beyond the ship's hull? Dr. Chen looked up from her console, understanding immediately what Elena was thinking. Theoretically, yes, but the power requirements would be enormous. Tom, how much power can we spare from life support? Chief Engineer Rodriguez's voice came over the intercom. Captain, I can give you everything except minimal air recycling. But we'd only have about 20 minutes before things get uncomfortable. Do it, Elena ordered. Sarah, I want that quantum field extended as far as possible. Captain, what are you planning? Jake asked. Elena smiled, the expression making her look years younger. Something these aliens won't expect. We're going to turn their own formation against them. The Tenacity began moving in a pattern that seemed random but was actually carefully calculated. Sarah's enhanced sensors tracked the positions of all 7 remaining alien ships while her quantum field generators prepared for something that had never been attempted before. Field extension ready, Dr. Chen announced. But Captain, if this doesn't work, the power drain will leave us completely defenseless. Then we'd better make sure it works, Elena replied. All hands, brace for impact. The quantum field erupted, outward from the Tenacity like an invisible wave. It swept across space, enveloping 3 of the alien vessels in its embrace. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the laws of physics asserted themselves in spectacular fashion. The quantum field created a localized distortion in space-time, causing the 3 alien ships to be pulled toward each other with irresistible force. They collided in a tangle of metal and energy, their own momentum becoming their destruction. 4 ships remaining, Jake reported, though he sounded like he couldn't quite believe what he was seeing. The surviving alien vessels had finally realized they were facing something far beyond their understanding. They began to withdraw, trying to put distance between themselves and the impossible human ship. But Elena wasn't finished. Marcus, open a channel to New Rotterdam. I want the colonists to hear this. Channel open, Captain. Elena stood and addressed both the colony and the retreating alien ships. This is Captain Elena Vasquez to all listeners. The Tenacity has engaged and defeated a superior alien force attempting to conquer human colonies. To our people on New Rotterdam, you are safe. To the hegemony fleet, spread the word. Humanity will not be conquered, enslaved, or intimidated. We may be small, we may be underestimated, but we are dangerous when threatened. The remaining 4 alien ships continued their retreat, but Elena wasn't about to let them regroup and attack other colonies. Jake, target their engines. I want them crippled, not destroyed. Targeting engines, Jake confirmed, firing. The Tenacity's quantum disruption cannon spoke again, their invisible beams reaching across space to precisely disable the alien vessel's propulsion systems. One by one, the massive ships went dead in space, drifting helplessly. "This is new, Rotterdam Control," came an excited voice over the communication system. "Captain Vasquez, we cannot thank you enough. You saved over 2 million colonists today." Elena felt a warmth in her chest that she hadn't experienced in years. "Just doing our job, New Rotterdam. Are there any other colonies under attack?" "Negative, Captain. Your actions here seem to have caused the other hegemony forces to withdraw. All colonies are reporting clear skies." Dr. Chen looked up from her console with a satisfied expression. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple human vessels approaching from several directions. Word of our engagement has spread, and everyone wants to see the ship that defeated a hegemony fleet." Jake laughed, the sound filling the bridge with genuine joy. From outcasts to heroes in one afternoon. Elena settled back into her command chair, watching as the disabled alien vessels were taken into custody by arriving human forces. Around her, the crew of the Tenacity worked with a precision and pride that had been missing for too long. "Sarah," she said quietly, "remind me to never again assume I know everything about my own ship." Dr. Chen smiled. "I may have a few more surprises, Captain. I've been working on some interesting applications for artificial gravity and temporal mechanics. Let's save those for the next impossible situation," Elena replied. As the ECS Tenacity took its place among the gathering human fleet, something fundamental had changed. The galaxy had learned that humanity's strength didn't come from having the newest ships or the most advanced technology. It came from the determination to protect what mattered, the ingenuity to find solutions where none existed, and the courage to stand up to any threat, no matter how overwhelming. The forgotten ship and its misfit crew had become legends in a single afternoon. More importantly, they had sent a message that would spread across every star system: underestimate humans at your own peril. In the depths of space, the Tenacity continued its patrol, no longer forgotten, no longer dismissed. The galaxy was a dangerous place, but it had just become a little safer for anyone under human protection.